I can't sleep without checking my locks twice, my gun still loaded under the pillow, and I swear I hear footsteps in the dark. I'm Jake Carter, 42, ex-Marine, ex-bodyguard, and a walking wreck since I let a kid die on my watch. Here's what happened, and I'm not proud of it. I grew up in Chicago, blue-collar, joined the Marines at 18 to escape. Found my calling in security, protecting people gave me purpose. 10 years ago, I landed with Elite Shield, guarding CEOs, politicians, the kind of folks who don't blink at death threats. I was good, damn good, until the Langley job broke me. Richard Langley, big shot exec, hired me to protect his family. His daughter, Emma, 16, was sharp, funny, the kind of kid who'd sneak you a coffee and ask about your day. I liked her. Thought I had everything under control. Routine was simple: escort Richard to meetings, keep an eye on Emma at school, check the estate's perimeter. My partner, Tom Rourke, had my back. He was 55, a legend in the game, taught me everything. But looking back, something was off. Tom's late-night calls, his cagey vibe, I ignored it. I trusted him like a brother. Then it all went to hell. Emma was killed in an ambush I should have seen coming. I keep replaying it, wondering if I missed a sign, if I could have saved her. The worst part? I think someone I trusted set it up. I've got no proof, just a gut feeling that's eating me alive. I'm not safe, never will be. I failed Emma, failed myself, and now I'm spilling this because I can't carry it alone anymore. I'm scared, man, scared I'll never shake this. Looking back, I thought I had everything under control. Elite Shield was my world, decent pay, respect, the kind of job where you feel like nothing can touch you. I'd been at it for years, and the Langley gig seemed like just another assignment. Richard Langley was a big-shot tech exec with a mansion in the Chicago suburbs. He had this charm, always smiling, making you feel like you mattered when he shook your hand. His wife was quiet, always off at some charity gala, and Emma, their kid, was the spark in the house. She'd roll her eyes at her dad's lame jokes but grin when I showed her how to spot someone tailing her in a crowd. "You're like a secret agent," she'd say, laughing, and I'd soak it up, feeling on top of the world. My days were clockwork. Mornings checking Richard's schedule, driving him to meetings, then keeping an eye on Emma at school. Evenings meant sweeping the estate's perimeter, making sure everything was locked down. My partner, Tom Rourke, made it smoother. He was a veteran, full of stories about dodging bullets in the 90s. We'd sit in the Langley's kitchen, coffee in hand, swapping tales. He was like a big brother, someone I trusted completely. But there were things I missed. Tom started taking calls late at night, stepping outside, keeping his voice low. I'd catch him watching me, like he was weighing something. Once, he asked odd questions about Emma's routine, stuff he didn't need to know. I shrugged it off. Tom's just being thorough, I told myself. Richard was off in his own world too, always on calls, barely noticing Emma. I chalked it up to rich guy stress. I was so caught up in the routine, scanning crowds, checking exits, keeping the family safe, that I didn't question the weird vibes. I thought I was untouchable, that I could handle anything. I'd broken up fights, spotted creeps, even taken a hit once to protect a client. This was my game, and I was winning. But looking back, I was clueless. Those late-night calls, Tom's strange questions, Richard's distance, they were red flags, screaming at me, and I ignored them. I keep thinking about Emma, how she trusted me, how I swore she'd always be safe. I was so wrong, and it's eating me up. I'm spilling this here because I need to figure out where it all started to unravel, before everything went to hell. Here's where it all fell apart, the moment I keep replaying until my head hurts. It was a Tuesday, crisp fall evening, and I was driving Emma home from school. She was in the back seat, earbuds in, humming some pop song, her backpack slung across the seat. The routine was second nature: check mirrors, scan for tails, keep the route unpredictable. I was on autopilot, cocky even, thinking I had this job nailed. Then it happened. A black SUV cut us off on a quiet road, no warning. Another boxed us in from behind. My gut screamed ambush, but it was too fast. Windows shattered, tires screeched, and before I could draw my gun, bullets were flying. I yelled for Emma to get down, but she froze, eyes wide. I swerved, tried to ram the SUV in front, anything to get us out. Then a shot hit her. Blood bloomed on her jacket, and she slumped. I screamed her name, floored it, but it was too late. She was gone. I got us to a side street, called for backup, but the attackers vanished like ghosts. Cops swarmed. Richard showed up, face gray, not even looking at me. I kept saying, I tried, but it sounded hollow. Tom wasn't there, supposedly on another assignment, but his absence felt wrong. He showed up later, too calm, asking questions like he already knew the answers. I started wondering if I'd missed something, if I'd been too slow, too careless. I'd always trusted my instincts, but now they were screaming I'd screwed up. Emma's face, that moment she looked at me, trusting me to keep her safe, it's burned into me. I failed her. I keep asking myself why I didn't see the SUVs sooner, why I didn't change the route that day. Was I distracted? Did I ignore a sign? Tom's absence gnaws at me. He was supposed to be on comms, but his radio was silent. I told myself he was just busy, but doubt crept in. What if he knew something? I'm spilling this because I can't shake the feeling I let her down, that maybe someone I trusted made sure I'd fail. It's eating me alive, and I don't know how to live with it. I kept telling myself it wasn't my fault, but the words felt like lies. After the ambush, I was a mess, sitting in Elite Shield's office, staring at the wall while Claire Voss, the agency manager, grilled me. She was all business, her voice sharp, like she was reading a script. You followed protocol, right? So why's the kid dead? I mumbled something about the SUVs, how fast it happened, but she cut me off. You're not paid to make excuses. Langley's threatening to sue. I wanted to scream that I tried, that I'd give anything to bring Emma back, but my throat locked up. Claire leaned in, eyes cold. This looks bad for us. Keep your mouth shut, and we'll handle it. I nodded, numb, because what else could I do? I kept replaying the attack, convincing myself I did everything by the book, checked the route, scanned for threats. Maybe it was just bad luck, I thought. Maybe no one could have stopped it. But Emma's face, that split second of trust before the shot, wouldn't leave me. I felt like I was drowning in shame, like I'd betrayed her by breathing while she wasn't. Tom was no help either. He pulled me aside after the meeting, all sympathetic, saying, It happens, man. You can't save everyone. But his eyes didn't match his words, too steady, too knowing. I asked why he wasn't on comms that day. He shrugged, said his radio crapped out, and changed the subject. I wanted to believe him, needed to, because doubting Tom felt like doubting myself. Claire kept pushing the narrative, random attack, wrong place, wrong time. She told me to stick to that story, like it was a line I had to memorize. I did, because I was scared of losing my job, my purpose. But the more I repeated it, the more it felt wrong. I started noticing things, Tom's quick glances at Claire, how she avoided my questions about the investigation. I told myself I was paranoid, that grief was screwing with my head. I'd wake up sweating, hearing Emma's voice, feeling her blood on my hands even though I never touched her. I couldn't face Richard. He wouldn't take my calls, and I didn't blame him. I'm spilling this because I'm stuck in this fog, trying to convince myself I did my job, but the guilt's crushing me. I keep wondering if I'm missing something, if I let Emma down because I was too weak to see the truth. Jake Carter's Story Parts 5 to 11. Part 5. 3 weeks after Emma died, I couldn't take it anymore. The official story felt like garbage in my mouth every time I repeated it. Random attack, wrong place. Wrong time, bullshit. I started digging on my own, staying up all night with a bottle of whiskey and a laptop, trying to piece together what really happened. I pulled traffic cam footage from that Tuesday. Took me days to find a city contact willing to help, cost me $200 and a favor I didn't want to owe. When I finally watched the video, my blood went cold. The black SUVs didn't just appear, they'd been following us for blocks, staying back, professional. This wasn't random. Someone knew our route, knew exactly where to hit us. But here's what really got me. 20 minutes before the ambush, there's Tom's car on the footage, parked at the intersection where they boxed us in. He sits there for 5 minutes, then drives off. His radio didn't crap out, he was watching, waiting. I confronted him the next day at his apartment. Tom answered the door in a bathrobe, coffee mug in hand, acting surprised to see me. Jake, what's wrong? You look like hell. I saw the footage, I said, pushing past him. You were there, Tom. You were fucking there. His face changed, dropped the concern for an act. Sit down, Jake. You're not thinking straight. Don't. I was shaking, my hand drifting toward my gun. Don't you dare tell me I'm crazy. Emma's dead because of you. Tom set his mug down slow, like he was buying time. You don't understand the whole picture. Then explain it. Explain why a 16-year-old girl had to die. That's when he told me. Richard Langley wasn't just a tech exec, he was laundering money for some very bad people. Emma wasn't the target, she was leverage. They wanted Richard scared, compliant. But Emma recognized one of the shooters from a family photo, started screaming his name during the attack. So they killed her to keep her quiet. You let them murder her, I whispered. I saved your life, Tom said. They wanted you dead too, but I convinced them you were just muscle, that you didn't know anything. You should be thanking me. I wanted to put a bullet in his head right there. Instead, I walked out. But not before I took something, a burner phone from his kitchen counter. Maybe I'd find something useful on it. The burner phone was my smoking gun and my death sentence rolled into one. I spent the next week cracking Tom's password, turned out to be Emma's birthday, which made me want to puke. The text messages told the whole story. Tom had been feeding information to someone called M for months. Emma's schedule, Richard's meetings, security protocols, everything. The night before the ambush, and texted. Package pickup tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. usual spot. Clean and quiet. Tom responded. Carter won't be a problem. Kid might ID us though. M's reply was 2 words. Handle it. They planned to kill Emma from the start. I printed everything, made copies, hid them in 3 different places. But I was sloppy, paranoid, drinking too much. I started seeing cars that weren't there, jumping at shadows. My apartment felt like a trap, so I moved into a crappy motel, paying cash, keeping my gun loaded. That's when Claire called. Jake, we need to talk. Come to the office. I knew it was a setup, but I went anyway. What choice did I have? Run forever? Let Emma's death mean nothing? I strapped on a vest, carried 2 pieces, and walked into a lead shield like a dead man walking. Claire was there with 2 men in expensive suits. They looked like accountants, but their eyes were predator cold. One introduced himself as Mr. Morrison, had to be M from the texts. The other just watched me, hand resting inside his jacket. You've been asking a lot of questions, Mr. Carter, Morrison said. Unhealthy questions. Someone killed Emma Langley. I want to know who. Morrison smiled. Random violence. Tragic, really? The city's becoming so dangerous. Cut the shit. I know about Tom, about the money, all of it. Claire leaned forward. Jake, you're having a breakdown. The guilt's eating at you, making you see conspiracies that don't exist. Let us help you. Therapy, maybe a long vacation. With a bullet in my head? Morrison laughed. You watch too many movies. We're businessmen, not killers. He paused. Though accidents do happen to people who can't let sleeping dogs lie. That's when I played my ace. I've got copies of Tom's texts, traffic footage, everything. If something happens to me, it all goes to the FBI. Morrison's smile never wavered, but something shifted in his eyes. You're bluffing. I pulled out my phone, showed him a photo of the printed messages. Try me. The room went quiet. Morrison whispered something to Claire, then stood up. You're a smart man, Mr. Carter. Smart enough to know when you're outgunned. We'll be in touch. They left me there, shaking, knowing I'd just bought myself time, but not much. I had maybe 48 hours before they decided I was too dangerous to live. I needed help, real help, but who could I trust? The cops? Half of them were probably on Morrison's payroll. The FBI? I had evidence, but would they believe a washed-up bodyguard with a drinking problem? Then I remembered Detective Maria Santos. We'd worked together on a stalker case 2 years back, and she struck me as one of the clean ones. Tough as nails, hated corruption, had this way of looking right through bullshit. If anyone would listen, it was her. I called from a payphone, paranoid, yeah, but Morrison's people had resources. Santos agreed to meet at a diner in Little Village, neutral ground where either of us had history. She looked older than I remembered, gray threading through her black hair, but her eyes were still sharp. Jake Carter. Heard you had some trouble recently. Sorry about the kid. That's why I'm here. I slid the envelope across the table, copies of everything, the texts, the photos, my timeline. Emma Langley wasn't killed in a random attack. It was planned, and my partner set it up. Santos read through it all, her expression getting darker. This is serious shit, Jake. If half of this is true, it's all true. But I'm a dead man walking. They know I have this. We can protect you. Witness protection, safe house. Until when? Morrison's got reach, money. I'll be looking over my shoulder forever. I leaned forward. I need you to promise me something. If I don't make it, if they get to me, you'll make sure Emma gets justice. Santos nodded slowly. What are you planning? Something stupid, probably. But I can't live with this anymore. I failed Emma once. I won't fail her again. That night, I went back to my motel and wrote letters, one to my sister in Denver, one to Richard Langley, one to Emma herself, telling her I was sorry, that I'd make it right. Then I loaded my guns and waited. They came at 3 a.m. I heard the lock pick, saw the shadows under the door. 2 men, moving quiet but not quiet enough. I was ready. The first guy through the door caught 2 rounds center mass before he knew I was awake. The second one was faster, got behind the bathroom door, started shooting. I rolled off the bed, came up firing, put 3 in the wall where his muzzle flashes were coming from. Silence. Then a groan, the sound of someone trying not to die. I waited, counting seconds, listening for backup. Nothing. These guys came light, figured I'd be easy meat. I was wrong about that. The second shooter was still breathing when I checked on him, trying to hold his guts in with bloody hands. I recognized him, one of Morrison's accountant types from the office. Where's Morrison? I asked. He coughed blood. Go fuck yourself. I pressed my gun against his knee. Emma Langley was 16 years old. Where is Morrison? The knee shot did the trick. He screamed, told me everything. Morrison's real name was Marcus Webb, had an office downtown, a warehouse in Cicero where they cleaned money and sometimes people. Tom was there now, waiting for word that I was dead. I tied off the guy's leg so he wouldn't bleed out, called 911 from his phone, and got out before the sirens arrived. Santos would find him, get his confession, but I had work to finish first. The warehouse was exactly where Dying Boy said it would be, industrial district, perfect for making people disappear. I watched it for an hour, counted 4 cars, maybe 8 guys total. Bad odds, but I'd had worse in Afghanistan. I went in through the roof, old Marine trick. Found Tom first, sitting in an office, feet up, reading a magazine like he was waiting for a bus. The look on his face when I dropped through the ceiling was worth everything. Jesus, Jake. You look terrible. Emma's birthday, Tom. That's what you used for your password. A dead kid's birthday. He had the decency to look ashamed. It wasn't supposed to happen that way. She was supposed to stay down, keep quiet. But she didn't. She recognized Paulie from some company picnic. Started screaming his name. What were we supposed to do? I shot him in the shoulder, watched him hit the floor hard. You were supposed to protect her, you piece of shit. Jake, wait. Where's Webb? Tom was crying now, clutching his shoulder. Conference room, end of the hall. But Jake, there's 6 guys with him. This is suicide. I know. I left Tom bleeding and went to finish it. The conference room was exactly what I expected. Long table, suits counting money, Webb at the head like some corporate king. They looked up when I kicked in the door, more surprised than scared. Rich guys aren't used to violence finding them. Mr. Carter, Webb said, straightening his tie. You're supposed to be dead. Sorry to disappoint. I had my rifle up, finger on the trigger. Emma Langley. 16 years old. You killed her to protect your money laundering operation. Webb smiled that same cold smile. Tragic accident. I read the police reports. The men at the table were reaching for guns, moving slow, thinking they had time. They didn't. I put the first one down, swung left, dropped 2 more before they cleared leather. Webb dove under the table like the coward he was. The last 3 had cover, started shooting back. I took a round in the leg, another creased my ribs, but I kept moving, kept firing. Training kicked in, move, shoot, communicate, though I had no one to communicate with except Emma's ghost. When the smoke cleared, they were all down. Webb was still under the table, whimpering. I dragged him out, sat him in a chair. Emma Langley. I don't know any Emma. I put the muzzle against his kneecap. Emma Langley. Okay. It was business, just business. Langley was stealing from us, and his daughter was going to identify our people. We had to. She was 16. She was a liability. I looked at this man, this thing in an expensive suit who ordered a child's death like he was firing an employee, and I felt nothing but empty rage. Emma deserved better than this. She deserved a world where monsters like Webb didn't exist. The shot was loud in the small room. I called Santos from Webb's phone, told her where to find the warehouse, the bodies, the evidence. Then I sat down to wait for the sirens, Emma's face finally clear in my mind, no longer twisted with fear. I'd failed her once. But I'd kept my promise in the end. The cops found me sitting in that conference room, surrounded by 7 dead men and enough evidence to put half of Chicago's financial district in prison. I didn't resist, didn't run. What was the point? I'd done what I came to do. Santos was the first detective on scene. She looked at the carnage, looked at me, shook her head. Jesus, Jake. What the hell happened here? Justice, I said. For Emma. They patched up my wounds at the hospital, then took me to jail. Murder charges, 7 counts, even though everyone knew the bastards had it coming. The media went crazy. Vigilante bodyguard kills crime boss, failed guardian's bloody revenge. They made me sound like some kind of hero or monster, depending on which channel you watched. Richard Langley visited me once. He looked older, broken, like he'd aged 10 years in 3 months. We sat across from each other in the visitor room, either of us knowing what to say. Finally, he spoke. They told me what really happened. About Tom, about Webb. I'm sorry, I said. I should have seen it coming. You were trying to protect her. His voice cracked. That's more than I did. I was so busy with work, with money, I didn't even see the danger I put her in. She loved you. Talked about you all the time. He broke down then, this powerful man reduced to tears in a jail visiting room. I failed her too, Jake. At least you tried to make it right. My lawyer, a public defender who looked like she was 12, kept pushing for a plea deal. Manslaughter, maybe get out in 15 years. But I wasn't interested in cutting deals. Emma deserved the truth, all of it, even if it meant I'd die in prison. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Santos testified about the evidence, the conspiracy, how Webb's organization had corrupted cops and judges for years. The prosecutor painted me as a loose cannon who took justice into his own hands. The defense tried to make me sympathetic, grieving bodyguard, PTSD, noble intentions. All I cared about was Emma's story getting told. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. When they came back, half of them were crying. Guilty on 7 counts of manslaughter, not murder. They believed I was defending Emma's memory, not just seeking revenge. The judge sentenced me to life, but made it eligible for parole in 25 years. I'm writing this from my cell in Stateville, 3 years into my sentence. It's not so bad. I've got books, letters from people who think I did the right thing, visits from Santos when she can make time. Tom died in the hospital before he could testify. Part of me's glad he won't have to look at Emma's parents in court. The corruption investigation Santos started with my evidence brought down 12 cops, 3 judges, and a whole network of dirty politicians. Webb's money laundering operation is finished. Emma's death wasn't for nothing. I still can't sleep without checking my cell door twice, still wake up hearing gunshots. But the guilt's different now, still there, always will be, but not eating me alive anymore. I kept my promise. I failed Emma when she needed me most, but I didn't fail her memory. Sometimes I dream about her. She's always 16, always smiling, asking me about my day or making some smart comment about her dad's latest business deal. In those dreams, she's safe, and I'm the bodyguard I was supposed to be. I've got 22 years left in here, maybe less if I keep my head down and the parole board feels generous. Part of me hopes I never get out. The world outside took Emma away from me, let monsters like Webb prosper while good kids died. At least in here, I know where I stand. But if I do make parole someday, I know what I'll do first. I'll visit Emma's grave, tell her I'm sorry it took so long, and that I finally kept my word. I'll tell her she mattered, that her death changed things, that the men who killed her are gone. Then maybe, finally, I'll be able to sleep without checking the locks twice. Maybe I'll stop hearing those footsteps in the dark. Maybe Emma will forgive me for failing her the first time, and remember that I didn't fail her the second. That's all a broken bodyguard can hope for.